about the Grateful Dead's Touch of Grey.
Yeah. 46.
46 years
so
old. Yeah. Oh, we babes. I'll tell you what, man.
A mere 10 years younger than me. Wait. Yes.
Oh, no. Wait, are you 56? Yes.
I am. Well, I will be.
Yeah,
shortly.
I was about to say.
Give me a month.
I'm pretty sure I know when your birthday is because that's whenever I was trying to plan my next thing.
Yeah, I appreciate that you do that. You know, it's heartwarming, really. You're like, I want to spend Tom's birthday with him.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
I was born on Tau Day, which is double pie day, but only in the U.S.
Is that a real thing?
Everybody else puts the date first.
Is that a real?
Yeah, Tau Day is a real thing.
Okay.
It's 6.28 double 3.14. Not many people celebrate it, but it's a real thing.
Oh, Tau
but
is
yeah,
double pie. I didn't know that. I keep threatening I should learn E. I always from the very early days of BB Live Show, I would say let's rate it on a scale of E to pi, which I thought was very funny, which is like 2.6 something to 3.14
to 3.14.
Yeah.
You know, Pi Day is coming up for Europe.
Oh, they do it backwards.
31st April.
They do it right. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes,
that's funny.
Course.
The 31st of April. Wait, no, that can't be. There is no 31st of April. Was that the joke?
That was the joke.
Oh, April Fools. I'm done. All right.
April Fools should be the 31st of April.
Yeah.
Poor Europe. They don't get a Pi Day. So sad. All right. We ready?
Yes. Assuming we're all good. Oh, one thing I noticed on, I think it was Great Night. Ryan, just so you know, we want to be like real tight on the music on there because I listened to Great Night and there was a couple seconds at the beginning, and because of the auto uploader, the Pod Night, there's nobody to trim that couple of seconds off the beginning. So we'll just keep an eye on that tonight.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Dylan
And
Thea
now
says
the
the
greatest
looking good.
show ever on the internet will begin.
Yes.
Welcome to Cordkillers. The world of entertainment is turned upside down, and we're just trying to find out how to watch what we want, where we want, whenever we want. I'm Tom Merritt. Brian, who killed all those cords?
Well, we're still looking for the real killer on channel after channel. Well, I guess not channel. On screen after screen, we're on the
YouTube
hunt.
channel after YouTube channel.
There we go. Nailed it. Crushed it. Brought it around full circle. Hey, guys, way before Killing Cords was a thing, we did a show about it. And then maybe we inspired the killer. Wouldn't that? There's a twist we haven't considered. You, Brian and Tom, I learned it from watching you.
Hey, we didn't do it, but maybe we're responsible in a certain kind of way.
Yeah, we're just the catcher in the rye that the assassin was holding when he was arrested.
We're not Holden Caulfield. We're
That's
JD
right.
Salinger. But we leave our house a whole lot more. Well, hey folks, we're here to help you navigate this crazy world of watching stuff that you want to watch. So let's get right into it with the supply run.
Supply run, supply run, supply run.
Now, as people who like to watch stuff, we understand, and I hope you don't find it hypocritical, that sometimes you want to leave your house to go watch stuff. You want to go to a theater. And in fact, the theater owners and the movie makers would really like you to do that more often. So Disney has announced something called Infinity Vision. This was announced at CinemaCon last week, is when you get all the theater owners together to kvetch about why people aren't coming to the movies more often. Infinity Vision theaters are outfitted with a minimum 50-foot screen width. You will not fit that inside your house, so you cannot replicate that. Advanced laser projection. But you probably could replicate advanced laser projection. 7.1 surround sound. You could totally do that in your house, but maybe not at the level that they're doing it. All of that meant to give you a premium large format theatrical presentation certification to rival IMAX. There are already 75 Infinity Vision certified PLFs in the United States with 300 more abroad. Former projectionist Brian Brushwood joins us now to discuss the new premium large format, the new PLF. What do you think of Infinity Vision, Brian?
For a split second, I thought it was 50-foot high screen, and I thought that we were dealing with something that was going to crush IMAX, but instead, it seems like this is just roughly comparable, do you think, Tom?
Oh, good question. I actually didn't do the numbers to numbers comparison, but yes, it does sound like this is Disney going, hey, we would like to take some of that IMAX money. IMAX seems to be doing the best of a lot of places out there. Why don't we do that too?
Well, and it seems like this was a near miss opportunity because if it's only competing with IMAX, then Disney has to slide into the stale number 2 position of being like, or ours. Like if you like, what is it? Is it not as expensive licensing for IMAX? Is it
that's an interesting
premium?
question, because the advantage is you've immediately got 300 theaters abroad and 75 in the US, right? Those are likely theaters that don't have an exclusivity deal with IMAX. And because you're not bigger than IMAX, you can just say, hey, take your IMAX theater and call it Infinity Vision. Boom. Now you can get our stuff. And that leads me to believe that the primary motivation is we want to get the monetization. We want the licensing deals. And now immediately all the Disney stuff, all the stuff in the, not just Disney movies, but all the things in the Disney empire, the Pixars and all of that, those all become a Infinity Vision revenue generating system.
Yes.
Rather than something where they had to pay IMAX if they wanted to have an IMAX version of it.
Well, and that's the other thing is this does kind of reek as we'll make our own IMAX with blackjack and hookers, right?
Disney, those are Brian's words. That you're using hookers.
But yes,
by
which what I mean is
totally.
It's I don't want to pay for your stupid licensing fee anyway. It's like ours is better and it doesn't even need your IMAX logo.
Well, I don't know if it's sour grapes like that so much as like, why should we pay you? We could do this ourselves and then we keep the money. And then we could probably convince somebody that ours is better somehow. And then we could make money. And now we're making money instead of spending money on the premium format. Honestly, this is what you're supposed to have in an open marketplace competition. IMAX is doing something and Disney goes, I think we could do that and we could probably sell it better. I think what you're latching onto is they didn't make a superior product to IMAX. Although they may say with laser projection and stuff, the quality is better, but they certainly didn't make a bigger version of it.
Well, and there's 2 threads here. So in general, I was thinking about, in the mind positioning as far as where they're coming in. I think you're right. I think what they're doing is going to read as, oh, I get it. You have your own version of IMAX. It's HD DVD versus Blu-ray, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, we get it. It's good. But as I'm thinking about IMAX specifically, like, think about what IMAX means today versus 30 years ago. 30 years ago, IMAX was a particularly interesting film product type that allowed for a type of resolution that could not be gotten any other way. Whereas nowadays, IMAX is not so much thought of as the film stock. It is thought about the standards of excellence of presentation that are taken very seriously. And in an age where everybody's working with digital and you could get sensors with more and more sensors on them, or CCDs, CMOS, imagine I had all the technical mumbo jumbo, right?
Sure.
But in an age where it's digital and you don't need IMAX film stock anymore, you can exactly achieve parity with IMAX's presentation positioning right out of the gate by just saying, look at it. Lasers.
Yeah. And honestly, it may be a better comparison to describe it as OLED versus LCD.
Ooh.
Because you can get the same size screen in both. OLED's going to say, we have the better picture. The various versions of LCD are going to say, we look better in sunlight. And what is your use case? I don't know what the breakdown between IMAX and Infinity Vision is going to be, but I imagine Disney has talking points for that exact thing when they go to try to get other folks to license Infinity Vision instead of IMAX. Theater owners don't care. They're like, oh, we can do Infinity Vision in the same studio that we're doing, or the same theater that we're doing IMAX in. Great. You just tell us which one, we'll sign on to that. And you keep those coming, then that's fine with us. Reminds me of the first time I went to an IMAX theater, and yeah, I was in the 90s probably. You walked in and there were like stairs by the screen, and the theater seats were different. I think all theater seats are now stadium seat, but it was stadium seating, which you didn't usually have in theaters back then. It was impressive. Now you go to see an IMAX movie and you're just walking into a regular old theater, but they, raise the curtain a little more.
Yeah, I remember like the local science center would have like the OmniMax presentation, which was just IMAX on a curved surface.
Yeah.
I wonder. I mean, I
don't know that this does anything other than help Disney's revenue, though.
That's what I'm trying really hard to steelman this as other than good end run. Disney, you'll be able to say it's Toshiba guts. It's the same thing on the inside.
And honestly, from Disney's point of view, that's all it needs to do, right? If it starts adding to the bottom line and eats a little bit out of IMAX's lunch, then Disney wins. That's great for Disney, but I don't know if it does anything for me.
I don't think it does anything for us. I think the main benefit is that Disney gets to whatever percentage point of a nudge it is. Like, for example, Project Hail Mary. Without reservation, I was able to tell everyone, go see it in IMAX. It matters.
Yeah.
Right? There is no, that move, that coupon does not exist for Disney right now. And instead, or I guess now it does.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It does. Whereas, Disney put things out in IMAX before, but they had to pay IMAX and cooperate with IMAX, and now they'll just pay themselves. Yeah. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing or anything. It's just if you see something advertised as an Infinity Vision, don't fall for it as like, ooh, that's cooler. It's because it may or may not be. The jury's still out on there. We'll find out when we start watching them.
Yep.
And people say what they think of it. And when that happens, we will tell you, but you'll find out first if you're a patron.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, you'll find out days earlier, 2 days, in fact, because when you become a patron at patreon.com/Cordkillers, you'll get your very own private RSS feed. It's special because, number one, no ads. The vast majority of you guys, you're either about to hear an ad or just heard an ad. Patrons, they don't even know what an ad is, probably. He says randomly. But the important part is you get your own feed with the full program, you get the full experience, and you get the exclusive just for bosses only after talk. And that's where we talk about the other two shows behind their backs.
Yeah. We'd say what we really think. It's like a slam book, but us.
That's right.
Ourselves. Yeah.
And all you have to do is head on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers. Oh, by the way, more and more people are taking the challenge where, yes,
oh, good.
I'm going to rebrand it. You know what? I didn't have the license to call whatever I was calling it, so I'm inventing my own Infinity Vision. It's called So You Think You're a Boss, huh? Take the You Think You're a Boss challenge and peek inside your patronage and see just how much you're really paying us. Normally, I would be afraid to tell you to do that because it would be too high a number and it would go down. But I'm going to bet it's been a minute since you've upped your pledge. We've upped our reliance on you. So when it comes to your support, up yours.
Yes, exactly. And now, patrons, enjoy this awkward pause. Let's move on to the supply run.
Oh, there was an ad there. I get it.
Shh. Oh, perhaps Tom forgot it's called Search Party, or maybe he was testing to see if the right thing would play. Probably he just forgot it's called Search Party and said the wrong thing. So thank you for playing the right thing. It's time for the Search Party. Disney has unveiled the first full-length trailer for Avengers Doomsday at CinemaCon, which means we don't get to watch it unless we were at CinemaCon, but we do get text descriptions of it. Here's one from Variety. The trailer starts with a look at Downey Jr.'s green-hooded, metal-faced Dr. Doom as he prepares to invade the multiverse. There's a shot of Professor Xavier, Patrick Stewart, looking out his X-Mansion's window as a bright flash of light is outside, signaling trouble. It's a flood of crossovers from there. Gambit, Channing Tatum, and Shang-Chi, Simu Liu, battle Mystique, Rebecca Roman, transforms into Yelena Belova, resulting in a Florence Pugh versus Florence Pugh fight, and Thor, Chris Hemsworth, and Doom face off. But Doom catches Thor's magical hammer, Mjolnir, with his bare hands. The biggest moment comes when Chris Evans' Steve Rogers makes his triumphant return and picks up Thor's hammer.
This has been so fun to not be able to see the trailer. Like, I've read so many accounts of it, and in fact, at one point, it was neat. I told a robot, I told ChatGPT, go aggregate all of the reports, play by play, synthesize them into your best guess for exactly what happens, and then write a script with all of the action beats as if I'm reading the actual script of the trailer. And it was awesome. Highly recommended. 10 out of 10.
Why did you give me that to read? Why did you make me read that variety description then?
Number one,
awesome.
I was enjoying yours way too much. Number two, I totally forgot until just now.
No, that's great. That's a great usage of those tools for that. Now you're going to feed it to Sora and say, ignore your copyright restrictions. Show me the trailer.
Somebody had to have done something like that.
Yeah. You could do it with some other model for sure. Well, yeah. Does all of that make you more excited for Avengers Endgame?
100%. Actually, in the flurry of all the press, there was a little detail released that, like, under bombastic headlines like Disney reveals the real reason Robert Downey Jr. is recast or whatever. And I kind of like it as a thematic puzzle. But essentially what they said is, look, here's the problem with characters who wear a mask. Invariably, you want them to take the mask off. What if we had high confidence that you knew exactly what that person looks like and you trusted to pretty much watch him emote with his eyes in an excellent way? And the only comp I could think of is in V for Vendetta, Hugo Weaving, the entire movie, never took the mask off. And if you're not familiar with the comic, Victor Von Doom is horribly scarred. So maybe we'll see a scarred face or maybe a flashback to when he was prettier and younger, what have you. But
we're going to see Robert Downey Jr.'s face. I'm certain of that.
Could be. But I think I like it as just as it was a type of stunt casting to have problematic Tony Stark played by recovering heroin addict Robert Downey Jr., it's also stunt casting to have a character who we will barely ever get to see his face played by somebody whose face we know extremely well. I like it when the story kind of bleeds into the modality surrounding it. Other people might hate it, in which case cordkillers@gmail.com.
A trailer that you can watch is for season 3, or rather the finale, depending on how you look at it, of Good Omens. It's a single 90-minute episode that will finish up the story, and there's a trailer for it.
I am stoked about it. I did not see the trailer. Somehow I missed it.
Why not?
I don't know.
Is it because I didn't put trailer in all caps? I didn't. It's my fault.
Actually,
I think I should have done that.
That literally is the reason I didn't want to say it on the air.
Damn it, I screwed up. Okay, sorry.
But I am. In fact, actually, you put all caps on the one that I couldn't
on
see.
the trailer. I noticed that now. I put it on the wrong line. I did mark trailer for the Spaceballs sequel.
I'll tell you what. You know what, Tom? I can reveal the real reason I didn't watch the trailer is because I knew you would give such an amazing description of it, play by play.
The Spaceballs sequel will be called Spaceballs The New One, to arrive April 23rd, 2027. Maybe the reason I put trailer there is because you can watch Mel Brooks' introduction to the trailer online. That video is one where he explains why they are not calling it The Search for More Money, as was foretold in the original Spaceballs. But they did play a trailer for it at CinemaCon that we cannot see yet. It spoofs everything from Star Wars to Avatar to Harry Potter. Just like the opening to Force Awakens, there's a sandy desert scene with robots and Jedi-like explorers, someone frozen in carbonite, so an homage to Han Solo, lots of sci-fi jokes, including Rick Moranis, who's coming back to revive the character Lord Dark Helmet. He is apparently peeing at a urinal next to a Na'vi from Avatar in one scene in the trailer.
I love the idea. There's got to be a riff that just is like, somehow Dark Helmet survived. The hand waving opening to the end of the Skywalker saga.
It's, you know what? It's gonna be good. It's gonna be fun. I don't know if I need to see it in the theater, but I kind of just want to see it in the theater.
I
just
definitely
to give it a vote of confidence.
From what I hear, The Naked Gun was just filled with unapologetic Gen Xers having the time of their life. I want to be in that room with that audience, the kind of people who get up and out to go see a Spaceballs movie. That's who I want to watch it with.
Yeah. You want that community feeling. No, wait, you use the term Gen Xer. What is that referring to?
The audience, the fact that Generation X grew up on this.
Generation X.
The forgotten
That's
generation.
the generation that sent people around the moon recently.
Oh, yeah. We're the ones who get up and get it. I'm sorry, Ryan, cover your ears. We're the best generation. Everyone knows it.
Yeah. There's only two generations that have sent people around the moon. That's the silent generation and Generation X.
Yeah.
Netflix has unveiled an animated movie, Charlie versus the Chocolate Factory.
Versus?
Not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Charlie versus the Chocolate Factory, with Kit Connor and Taika Waititi involved. It is a twist on the Roald Dahl story, coming in 2027.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll buy in on that.
Yeah, Taika Waititi has built up a lot of credit with me. I don't think I've been disappointed by anything he's done, and I've absolutely adored several things that he's done. So I'm in.
Taika Waititi is winning enough that I'm getting annoyed. He's becoming like the Yankees. Like, I don't want to like his stuff anymore.
Let me update you. It's the Dodgers now. The
Yankees, the Dodgers.
Yankees haven't been to won the World Series. They've been to the World Series, but they haven't won the World Series. The Dodgers won back-to-back, so now everybody hates
soon
them.
It'll be banana ball, where it's like, I'm just tired of your triple
seriously.
flips and being awesome all the time.
Second. Yeah. Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, which is a live-action movie with Andy Serkis directing, has made its official cast announcements. Ian McKellen and Elijah Wood will return. They will be playing Gandalf and Frodo. They're not returning as other characters. And yes, they did recast Aragorn, Jamie Dornan, to play Aragorn. And they gave us a release date as well, in theaters, December 17th, 2027.
That's going to be huge. I do adore the idea that they take on each other's roles. That Gandalf is playing Frodo for some reason.
Elijah Wood is back, but he's Gandalf.
Yeah.
And Ian McKellen is Frodo. It's a crazy mixed up world. The Hunt for Gollum, apparently, that's the one we talked about previously, where it's going to be set after the events of Lord of the Rings, with Samwise talking to his children about what happened leading up to the point where they left, and it's going to be covering the story that are the chapters they sort of skipped in the Peter Jackson movies. So looking forward to that. Warner Brothers has unveiled the first trailer for Evil Dead Burn, also a trailer we don't get to look at because it was only at CinemaCon, but apparently it's full of living dead and chainsaws and fingers hacked off. So, it's the Evil Dead movie coming July 24th.
So I don't see the words Bruce and or Campbell in here.
Not yet. No, unless there's a surprise cameo. It does not appear that Bruce Campbell is involved from what we know.
That would be, let me put it this way. If you did have that in your back pocket, that's probably where I would keep it at CinemaCon.
Yeah, maybe tell some people outside of the, in the halls, so to speak. Is Bruce Campbell in Evil Dead Burn? I'm going to see if anybody, nope, no news on that. Zero news on that. So there we go. There is a trailer for Godzilla Minus Zero, a sequel to Godzilla Minus One. These are new movies made by the Toho studio that originated Godzilla. So these are different than the Universal movies that are also including that universe. And Godzilla Minus Zero is coming November 6th.
Dude, I loved Minus One. And like real stakes and real human stories where Godzilla is just this force of nature that is just on the edge of comprehensibly deal withable. It's great, and I enjoyed this trailer.
I think Toho has done a great job of taking what people love about their older movies that isn't just camp and kitsch, and translating it into a modern way of telling stories that is fantastic. So I'm in agreement with you. White Lotus season 4 is going to be shot during the Cannes Film Festival so that they can set the story as happening during the Cannes Film Festival. They're going to be using multiple hotels as the White Lotus, so there won't be just one hotel this time. But whatever the story is, it's going to take place while the film festival is happening.
This is great. The only way it could be better is if it took place at Dragon Con across the 4 hotels.
Former NBC anchor Brian Williams is going to do a podcast-style show for Netflix called We're Back with Brian Williams, because he's Brian Williams, and we're back as a thing that anchors say, and we're back. So there you go. I don't know if it's a podcast, but it's an interview show, and it's got Brian Williams. So
you left out one of the reasons. Another reason is that he was a little bit persona non grata because a story that he was telling turned out to have a bunch of inaccuracies in it. One of his favorite, coffee table talk stories was too sanded around the edges. And when you're in the business of being a trusted news anchor, people, turns out, they really take it serious if you misremember details.
I'm pretty sure that has nothing to do with this title, Brian, or they would have titled it We're Back, and this time with no lies.
I mean, that put it in parentheses, right?
Silo has released a trailer for season 3, which will premiere on July 3rd. And it looks like from the trailer, we might be getting some origin story stuff for the Silo, which we haven't gotten in the first 2 seasons.
It would be great to get delighted and surprised. To be honest, the parallels between Silo and Fallout are really interesting because both have managed to remain very good shows as they expand their footprint. And just like Fallout had, in that case, they're constantly, ping-ponging in the before times and the after times. I wouldn't mind Silo just throwing a big old curveball and giving us a lot of the before times.
Yeah, I will give Fallout a little bit of a credit there for not having as... Well, how do I want to say this? Silo's based on books and Fallout's based on a video game. And I find one to be a little more difficult to adapt than the other, especially in that, in what you're talking about, flexibility. Right? Because Hugh Howey put up a nice scaffolding for them to follow and keeping that interesting for people. Whereas Fallout has a nice scaffolding for that stuff, but it's meant for a different form with a different release cadence and all of that. So I think they're both great, but it's a slightly more difficult trick to pull off with Fallout, I think.
Yeah.
All right. And now the name of the next segment is in fact Buried Treasure.
Most people want to know why they suddenly got rich.
Buried treasure.
Brian, have you gone into a world now where the thing you're going to recommend people watch is just a thing from your family?
Tom, I blame you and I and our flexible moral standing that allowed us to extend the amount of Magnum PI that we watched to 2 episodes because, look, spoiler alert for full experience, we're really enjoying Magnum PI. And so what normally would have been a relaxed viewing of some other stuff turned out to be more homework. You're welcome. And so really, quite literally, the only moving picture show that I've watched recently was my daughter's animation. And she, if you want to see it, it's SEPPIETONE on YouTube. That's her. She only got one. It's a music video and to a fandom thing.
This is your rock star daughter.
Yeah.
Who is now doing an animation.
Well, she's a double threat, triple threat.
I just stop. You're making all of humanity look bad. It's not cool.
I'm weaponizing her. I'm teaching her magic to boot.
I started by watching the first couple episodes of the season 2 of Beef.
Oh,
remember Beef?
Yeah. Is it as White Lotus-y as we had speculated?
I don't think so.
Ooh.
I think it's really good. I think it's a different take on a beef. And I find that way more interesting than if it had been like, here's another beef. Variety trashed it. And maybe
Really?
when I finish watching the season, I'll also agree with Variety. So I've only watched the first 2 episodes, but they said it's like, it doesn't capture the spirit of the original. It's too complex, too sprawling, too preachy, blah, 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 blah. I see a little bit of what they're talking about with the preachy, because it is very much wearing on its sleeve. This millennial couple is talking to these Gen Z couple and they don't understand each other. There's a little bit of that, but I actually think it's done fairly well. And the rest of it is full of nice little twists and turns and surprises. And it is very much taking the essence of Beef, which is people doing small things that you can tell are leading them to do something that is not what they would have said they would ever do, but it's in slow motion enough and they're compromising their principles just a little enough that it's a slow motion car wreck that you as the viewer can see coming, but you understand why they cannot. And again, I'm only a couple episodes in, so maybe it goes off the rails, but so far so good.
Right on. I'll have to check that out on Netflix, right?
That is on Netflix. And in fact, if you've got something we should be on the lookout for, email us, cordkillers@gmail.com. I now yield the remainder of my time to Brian Brushwood to tell us about some amazing thing that he is doing.
Man, look, there's a lot that's about to change. We were talking before the show that there's a hinge moment happening in the world of Brian. And if you want to know what comes next, signup.scamstuff.com, SIGNUP, .scamstuff.com. That'll get you right on the email list where I will be showing up shortly. Once there's a couple of superpositions that are about to collapse, and then quite literally, I'm going to begin a 5 to 10 year arc that is probably the most important thing I've ever done. No big deal.
I imagine you with like a dozen irons, and you're like, when are these fires gonna get with this iron hottest? Which one's gonna be first? I want to grab it.
We're gonna go straight from
at?
zero to Chicago fire. I'm just waiting on Mrs. O'Leary's cow. Come on, just kick one of them
I thought you
over.
meant the NBC show. Yeah, okay, never mind. That makes more sense. Let's scan the horizon now, shall we?
Scam the horizon.
Send a scanning.
Modern rogue the horizon.
Scanning the horizon!
Netflix reported stronger than expected profits in Q1, but that doesn't matter. What have you done for us tomorrow is what investors want to know. It's forecasting less revenue in Q2 than analysts expected, which raised concerns about whether Netflix can continue to grow. Netflix says its ad business should double to $3 billion by the end of this year. So that is one place where they're going to get more money, but I think analysts are wondering, what else do you got? The bigger news, however, is that chairman and co-founder Reed Hastings will not stand for re-election on the board when his term expires in June. He hasn't been CEO for a few years, but he has been on the board and he has been chairman of the board, so he's still involved in the company. He will no longer be involved in Netflix in any way except as a stockholder because he's leaving the board altogether. So he wants to focus on philanthropy and other pursuits, which is a kind of thing people say when they leave boards. Yeah. It doesn't tell you anything about what he'll actually do.
Well, not for nothing, I'd imagine he's worth a pretty penny. I'd imagine that he's won the game of dominant position and has an opportunity to retire undefeated, essentially, except for all the times
I don't think he's had to work for a long time. You're absolutely right. Why now? There could be a million different reasons, but
I mean, to be honest, one good reason for right now is because it's a brief window when whatever the reason is, it's not a his fault thing. It's not a PR, like there's no PR baggage to him leaving right now. Not like if he left in the middle of Quickster or in the middle of.
Yeah, right. Ted Sarandos is probably going to get the blame for anything that goes wrong, even though he's co-CEO with Peters because he's been there longer. So I don't think Reed would get stuck with anything anyway. I think he's just like, yeah, you don't need me around anymore. You guys got this, like I don't even need to be the chairman.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe their future is looking rosy enough that it's like that could be a coupon to hold on to if you need somebody to throw to the wolves. Oh, this was all Reed's idea.
And now he's gone. What do we do? Amazon has launched a new Fire TV Stick HD. This one's 30% thinner than the previous model and 30% faster, but still $35. Shipping April 29th in Australia, Canada, Japan, Mexico, New Zealand, the UK, and the US. Amazon also launched its Ember Artline TVs. These are frame-style TVs to compete with the Samsung frame, meant to look nice when you hang them on a wall.
Yeah, man, TVs are getting real cheap, Tom. You can get a big old TV. I'm sitting here, the monitor I'm looking at, the program monitor, you're tiny. You're very far away. As soon as one of these irons catches fire, I'd like to replace you with a wall 7.5 feet wide.
Yeah, and it would not break the bank to do it. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Pluto TV is going to adopt the same tech stack as Paramount Plus to improve the user experience. They revealed that Pluto's growth is currently led by the 18 to 34 demo. Pluto probably has been on the same tech stack since before it was owned by CBS, which is now part of Paramount. So I imagine it's time for them to redesign that, and merging it into Paramount Plus would certainly be a way to save money, because then you only have one tech stack to make changes to and maintain and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that tracks.
Roku Incorporated said more than 100 million households are using its streaming platform. That marks a milestone as the company continues to be an advertising company. Roku is no longer a streaming company. They're a company that makes money off advertising. In fact, that's the vast majority of Roku's business. $4.15 billion of its $4.74 billion in revenue last year came from the platform segment, which is where it sells ads against stuff, not just on the Roku channel, but also in the interface and all of that stuff. So I remember years ago on Cordkillers talking about, like, Roku is getting into selling ads seriously now. They want this to be the future of their business. And turns out they made that happen.
Turns out they're right when their install base is all of them. It turns out that when we live in a reimagining of 1984, in which all of us have the same forced loading screens, and that our minds can be controlled to the highest bidder. Yeah, it's a good position, Roku.
Yeah. However, if you own a Sony TV from the past couple of years and you use an antenna, you're getting less features. As of late May, people who use an antenna with the 2025 models of the Bravia 8.2, the 2024 models of the Bravia 9, and the 2023 models of the Bravia A95L will see a reduced TV guide. There was a support page that listed this change. Cordkillers News found this. Program information may not appear depending on the channel, and only programs from recently watched channels may be shown if they are delivered through an antenna. This is basically Sony cutting back on a free service that they were providing to their TV owners.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I imagine this is because not enough people use it, and the way they monetize that is to say, we have a lot of people using this, we can roll some ads into it, gain some data from it, and they're just not getting enough people to make either one of those worthwhile.
Yeah.
YouTube has rolled out a way to eliminate shorts from your feed on your smartphone or tablet. Basically, they let you adjust the time of shorts that you will allow to be showed in your feed. And they've always done this, but now you can make that limit 0 minutes, which means that any short longer than 0 minutes will disappear from your feed. And 0 minutes is rounded down to 0 seconds. So it's not like a 30-second short would show up. You just basically zero it out and you don't get shorts anymore.
Yeah. It is remarkable with YouTube's extremely dominant position, the way their small nudges have an outsized effect on, entire careers for channels. And in this case, YouTube moved towards shorts being a serious play. And I feel like they gave it, 3 years? It was around 2023 that they kind of made shorts real and mandatory-ish. And then now it's like, okay, you've looked at that vegetables long enough. I believe you. If you don't like shorts, we're willing to take them back.
Yeah. This is part of a feature that is meant to limit children's consumption of shorts. The idea was like you could put a 15-minute timer and like, okay, kids, you can watch 15 minutes of shorts and then you have to stop. You're basically trying to stop them from doom scrolling. But they launched this now for everybody with the 0 minute option, which basically, if they had just launched it for kids, I'd be like, oh, this is for parents who don't want to allow their kids to watch shorts at all. But they launched it for everybody, which is interesting.
Now I want to monkey around with that. All right.
Yeah. And finally, Peacock's ad-free tier, Premium Plus, is going to be available on the Roku Premium subscriptions tier. This is part of a new agreement between NBC Universal and Roku.
Which is
So
to
just
say,
kind of
every screen, going back to my 1984 comment.
All right. Hold, please, for the chatter.
You've got mail.
Now listen, folks, if you don't watch the full experience or you don't listen to the full experience, you may be confused when someone writes into Cordkillers suggesting a show to watch. But usually what they're doing is saying, hey, this is a good show that you should do on the full experience. But we read them here so you all hear them because maybe it's just a good show you might want to watch. For example, Tim says, the Artemis II mission has inspired me to suggest BBC's 1987 science fiction series Star Cops. It's set next year. It's set in the far distant future of 2027, which is a bit optimistic. A setting of 2047 would be more believable nowadays. Unlike many other shows set 40 to 50 years in the future, this show's future is still believable. It still could happen, maybe with fewer trench coats. It is a very low budget and a bit clunky and desperately try to make bulky CRTs look like flat screens. The theme music is very Star Trek Enterprise. There are no GUIs or iPhones, World Wide Web, or social media. However, the hero, Nathan Spring, owns a device called the Box, which can read its surroundings and hack wirelessly into any nearby computer or electronic device. Box communicates with Nathan Spring using Nathan's own voice, having been trained on every one of Nathan's utterances and conversations that it has heard. LLM? The whole series is available in high-quality versions on the Star Cops channel on YouTube, which you can watch for free.
Yeah, I'll take a peek at that.
Yeah, I definitely want to take a look at that too. That's amazing. Good recommendation, Tim. Andrew writes, a podcast is an on-demand radio auditory program. There are two kinds of podcasts. There are true podcasts, which support RSS feeds, and there are pseudo podcasts that do not support RSS feeds. Pseudo podcasts can also be referred to as talk shows. Podcast may or may not provide video. This is most often compared to the biological taxonomy of crabs. Please see crustacean, true crabs, and false crabs.
Yeah, he provided
like
links
the
to all
crabs
those. They didn't copy over. But that's interesting. Ryan, as the youngest person in the room, do you consume podcasts? And if so, how?
Yeah, I'll go for Spotify on my way to work or...
And is that the only way?
Yeah, unless it's recommended to me on YouTube, sometimes I'll go for it.
Oh my God. Those and so Spotify, does Spotify use RSS feeds?
I have no idea.
I've never. They do. Yeah, you can add an RSS feed manually to Spotify. It is not obvious. It is not easy. Most people don't do it. And they use RSS feeds to intake, like Cordkillers is on Spotify through our RSS feed. So I think those count. But Spotify also makes shows that it calls podcasts that aren't available outside of Spotify. So do those count? Because those don't have an RSS feed. Interesting. Michael writes, you talked about the Roku deal to stream Banana Ball. I saw a TikTok of the Banana Ball founder talking about turning down bigger streaming deals, but they required that they be exclusive. And he wanted to always stream the games on YouTube, regardless if they're streaming elsewhere, because he wanted his fans to always have a free way for him to monetize. No, I'm sorry. He said always have a free way to access it.
Pro move to be good guy Banana Ball.
Yeah. I don't doubt that Michael, that the founder of Banana Ball, is a good guy. However, were he not a good guy, he might say the exact same thing because it was a better deal to be able to continue to monetize your YouTube videos and get the money from Roku than a check they would have gotten from Peacock or Netflix or something like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't make him a bad guy, even if that is true. Amar writes, hey, y'all, I wanted to write in and chime in about my experience watching Coachella this year. I also watched Coachella on YouTube. We talked about it last week. I haven't tuned in for very long, but when I've been tuned in, the YouTube chat experience has tended to be one of the worst I've had. During multiple performances, chatters were either hating on the artist who's live or lying about who's live on another stage or coming up next. I should probably note that the most of the performances I've seen are the EDM artists during their DJ sets. I did not catch performances like Bieber's live. It's disappointing because chat rooms are my favorite thing about live streams on the internet, and the only other time I've seen an experience on YouTube this bad in recent memory was when I tuned into the PWHL to find a bunch of sexist heckling chatters talking about knitting and baking cookies. Have you observed this behavior during the performances you've seen, and has it bothered y'all as much as it has bothered me? I cannot answer that because I never have chat on when I'm watching Coachella. I rarely have chat on when I'm watching other things, except for particular live streamers that I enjoy, where they do a good job interacting with their chat room and they moderate their chat room to the point where you don't have these kinds of things happen. This kind of stuff generally happens in big, popular, wide open chat rooms that don't have moderation.
Yeah. So certainly any space that goes feral can turn that way. And in the early days, as a matter of fact, on Office Hours, we're walking through all the old Scam School episodes, and we're just now getting to the part where new episodes are coming out on YouTube in 2009. And during this time, there was a full 2 years that nobody was really curating the fan customer experience. And so in this case, you kind of have a triple threat. Number one, you've got YouTube. So it could be the YouTube-ness of it being unmoderated. It could be the fact that an EDM set is, in general, it's going to be a bunch of fairly similar music. It's a bit more like Lo-Fi Girl, where it's a particular flavor without a bunch of character driven. They're not rallying around a person. So there's
you don't have the Beliebers like you do with Justin Bieber.
Exactly. And in a void, stochastically, some people will self bless themselves as lieutenants to act on behalf of whoever's on stage. So you have the YouTube suspect number one is the YouTubiness. Suspect number two is the EDM-iness. Suspect number three is the Coachella-ness. Because if this was the little festival that somebody had to go out in the weeds and find, then it probably wouldn't be worth, throwing eggs at the performance. But Coachella, of course, has a giant dominant position, and this is a quiet, unmoderated spot. So whatever those general anti-authoritarian vibes were being projected onto Coachella, this was a spot for them to bubble up and come out.
Let's say, for example, that 1 out of every 10,000 chatters says awful things that you'll hate. If you are watching a show that has less than 10,000 people viewing, chances are you might never see that. And if you do, it's real easy to ignore because it was the one person. However, if that stream has 10 million viewers, now you have thousands of people saying the awful things you hate, and it's almost impossible to ignore. And that's just a law of scale that's worth keeping in mind when you're talking about stuff on the cigarettes that are social media.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, Marion G in the chat says that Coachella became the villain it meant to oppose. Do you agree with that? Is Coachella big enough to have become what it set to strike down?
Well, I don't mean to pick on Marion G, but they wrote Cochlea.
I gave the
and
benefit.
I feel like that's a better story. Is that the Cochlea has become the villain.
The villain started telling lies.
Yeah.
There's the real cochlear implant.
What I'm hearing is not reality. It's the villain. It's trying to... no, to get back to the original and intended point, I don't think Coachella is the villain. It's the people in YouTube chat. So no, I don't know. I don't know if I agree that Coachella has become the villain it was meant to oppose. But it's worth keeping an eye on because they might.
Yeah.
You never know. Well, folks, our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. And we are live on twitch.tv/Night Attack and youtube.com/Modern Rogue Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. I reckon we'll talk to you next time.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Yeah. All right. Coffee run.
Coffee time in your face, leaving me to sing an A-Team song. That used to be a thing, and I know I've told this story before, so I apologize to the 3 people who've already heard it, but that used to be a thing we would do, and we'd walk down the hall to record Buzz Out Loud at CNET back in the day. We would just make up words to the A-Team theme while we were walking. It's the kind of thing that made me know that I was working together with people who understood me, that was just a regular thing that happened all the time. Have you ever done that? Specifically, walked down the hall at CNET in 2007 to record Buzz Out Loud and made up words to the A-Team thing? If you have, let me know in the chat. Because if you have, you're either Veronica Belmont, Molly Wood, or Jason Howell. You might be Albert Kim. There's a couple other people you might be, but mostly you're probably those people. Or a leaper. Good point, G. James B. Better to be a belieper than a believer. Actually, Eileen really liked the Justin Bieber set. She watched on the Coachella live stream. Again, not looking at the chat room, but it seems like he is really trying to be like, hey, I am who I am. I'm not going to pretend I'm somebody else. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm trying to be a good person, but we all have our flaws, and let me just be unfiltered with you and play my music. One of the coolest things he does is he has a laptop with YouTube, and he looks up his own videos and then plays them and sings along, which is kind of fun. That's right, DeGrowly Bear. You don't need no stinking reasons to make up words to any song. You can do it whenever you want. I'm really excited to talk about season 3, episode 1 of Magnum PI. Did you see the sunrise? There's a controversy around this episode that we will resolve in the course of discussing it.
Tom, while I was getting coffee, he said, using air quotes, I was listening to you solo the stream with nary an assist, and I knew what true greatness sounded like. Tom's ability to just keep everything alive. That's the kind of radio experience that blows my mind. Oh,
you mean the babbling that I was just doing about the 18?
Yeah, the ability to just keep it afloat. You don't let dead air go out. That's a crime. They'll probably revoke your license or something.
Now you're making me want to pull out my old air check cassettes.
I actually, to be honest, I would sit for hours and hours and hours listening to all that stuff.
I cringe a little when I sit and listen to them, but it is also fascinating. It's fascinating to hear me do a really dumb joke, which, by the way, I haven't stopped. But to hear old me doing it, I'm like, I wouldn't do that dumb joke now. I'd be doing an entirely different dumb joke.
I would do it better. It would be fun.
Yeah, exactly. But then occasionally I do something where I'm like, whoa, that was good.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I could still think of that on the fly. So yeah, it's fun. And thank you. That was very nice of you to say.
Yes. All right.
What was your real reason for saying? No, I'm just
No. It was genuinely appreciated. I was like, man, he's just going he's not having to read the chat, or he's good.
I did work in the chat.
Yeah, you did at the end. But mainly I was just
because
amazed.
DeGrowly Bear threw in something good. That's the only reason.
All right.
I don't need no stinking badges. All right. Shall we then?
Yes.
It is time for the full experience. Full stands for first, ultimate, lowest, last. We watch 4 episodes of a TV show to see if we can get the flavor of the entire show each time. And we are in the middle of our journey with Magnum PI. We are watching the ultimate episode. That is the rating highest episode, the episode with the highest rating on IMDb for all Magnum PI episodes. Did You See the Sunrise from September 30th, 1982? I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Tom, I don't want to accuse you of shenanigans, but like this is 2 weeks in a row that technically we're only supposed to watch one thing, but then we watched 2 things. First, it was the pilot, which was the first half of the 2-part. It was an extra long pilot. I guess that one we watched all at once. It was one file.
So in both cases, they are syndicated as 2 parts, but they aired as a single episode. So I think our rule should be whatever it aired as, that's what we do. And that's what we've done.
Hey, I'm cool with that. I don't think there's any all-seeing cord-killing judge, but I certainly hope not.
It does
because
mean
I got to bury
that we had to pay an extra $3 or whatever.
Or in my case, an extra $5 because I accidentally clicked buy on the $1.99 version, and I thought, no, surely it'll just have me add $1 for the HD version. Nope. It was like, you must really like this episode and want to be a digital completionist.
That's annoying. But yeah, this episode aired as just called Did You See the Sunrise? There was no part 1 and part 2. It was when they put it out in syndication later that they broke it up into part 1 and part 2. Though you'd be forgiven if you didn't think that looking at it. They did a good job in the edits later of making it feel like a cliffhanger ending and then doing a previously on and all of that. But this all aired as one September 30th, 1982. And it is one of the, well, I mean, we've only watched the 1 episode so far, but of the other Magnum PIs that I remember watching back in the day, it feels like one of the more serious ones where we are dealing with a mystery and what do they call it? Delayed stress is the term they're using for it in this particular era. Yeah. But they're dealing with all of that and flashbacks, and I'm like, oh, we're still getting we got flashbacks in the pilot, still getting flashbacks in this episode. We see them use actual footage from Stalag 17, which I'm like, was that just easier to license back then, or did they pay for it, or what was going on? And it really lured me in to thinking, okay, this is just going to be a straightforward mystery episode of, what's happening with all of this flashback. How does it all tie together? And there was something relaxing about it. And then right then is when they did the prisoner scene. And I was like, oh, this is not relaxing anymore. I had a rocky ride from there out. Sometimes it would get not silly, but a little obvious. And then other times it would go back to being very subtle and very poignant. What about you?
I just now looked up on IMDb to see what you were talking about. Everything makes so much more sense because I thought that the highest rated was I thought they were separate ratings for part 2 versus part 1. And I could not understand why part 1 was the highest rated because we had already experienced that with Speed Racer, where it's like everything was a part 1 and a part 2, and they all had separate ratings. Some of them we saw
separate ratings.
Just the second half or the first half and all that. I thought this was those rules. Now I understand that there's only ratings on this whole 2-part story, which makes a lot more sense because I was intrigued. I was sucked in to part 1 as a standalone thing. And I was thinking, this is the highest rated episode of this show. Awful lot of sitting around and gawking at a hula tiki bar and a doughy simpleton kind of trying to lure Magnum around. It was very uneven. And then swing to what I would imagine for television was an incredibly gritty torture, interrogation, Vietnam themed with liberal use of the N-word.
4 times in the course of this 2-parter did they use the N-word on primetime broadcast television, something that absolutely you won't see these days.
Yeah. Well, and then it was more than 4 times if you count the second half too, right? Because
was 2 times in the first part, 2 times in the second part.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm going to trust you on those numbers.
I have it in my notes. I was like, whoa. I mean, basically I wrote, wow, the N-word from Ivan, second N-word. And then later on, third, fourth, I didn't even have to say what.
Yeah. Okay. So watching it as it is spotty, it is hot and cold. There is a really good 60 minutes-ish. But there is one thing that totally shocked me was when we got to the end and Ivan and Tom Selleck and Magnum go out into the woods to take a little walk, and Ivan correctly gets Magnum's number about you can't kill me in cold blood. It's not in your nature. I was like, yeah, that is all on point for the character of Magnum. And then there was a brief moment I thought, but in this moment, I don't know if he's going to pull the trigger or not. And then the most wonderful thing happened, Tom. I thought, nope, this is early 1980s. This is long before the rise of the anti-hero. We cannot get a Vic Mackey killing him in cold blood moment. And I was like, not even for a Russian? And I was like, I think not even for a... No, I'm wrong. Straight up murdered him in cold blood.
Well, and there's 2 things about the way they do it. One is a practical, because we're talking about a TV show from 1982. You hear the blast and see a flash, but you don't actually see Magnum killing anyone, right? So you evade standards and practices by doing a heavy implication, right? Maybe someone else shot it and it wasn't Magnum, but we all know it was Magnum. But even beyond that, like leaving that sort of workaround for standards and practices aside, it wasn't in Magnum's nature. It's out of character. You believe that he isn't the kind of person who would kill in cold blood, that he does believe that, justice should prevail properly, even though he's a bit of a rogue. And then you have the cheesy voiceover that happened multiple times of like, I got to see the sunrise together. You have the cheesy line of, hey, let's go watch the sunrise, which feels a little out of nowhere, right? When they're leaving the bar. Then you see that he never got to sunrise. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, we're very, very maudlin, And then at the end, you're like, oh, now I know why they did that. And it's a powerful line of like, did you see the sunrise? And he's like, well, yeah, of course. So, which is a little weird for Ivan not to be more confused by the question and just answer it straight. But it works because you're like, oh, yeah, no, he's dead. As soon as he said yes to that question, I'm like, that was your judge and jury. That was your moment to be like, yeah, it's not fair that you get to see another sunrise. I thought that was really good. The other one I thought was really good is they have TC talking about needing to waste Ivan. Like, I'm going to waste Ivan. And you even see it in the flashbacks. And it feels a little out of character. TC, again, we've only watched 2 episodes, but he seems like a pretty chill guy. And it's like, okay, maybe he's that guy that's slow to anger, but when he does, he goes a little crazy. And then at the end, they bring out, the reason he wanted to waste Ivan is because they programmed him to waste Ivan. Like that now pays off. That now makes sense. That weird tick that I was trying to figure out a way to excuse actually has a through line. I thought that part was pretty good too.
Yeah. TC, okay, tell me if this rings true for you, Tom. He strikes me as more weed coded of everyone. Like
yeah,
Rick is cocaine coded, and
right.
TC is weed coded, and Higgins is whiskey coded.
Although TC doesn't drink. I don't know if you noticed that when what's his face, Nuzo, he has 2 bottles of beer and he's like, and this for you. And he gives TC a can. Mm-hmm. And I actually paused and zoomed, and it's
you did the Brian production vision. That's great.
I did and I'm like, oh, they are giving him on purpose a juice that most people on TVs in 1982 would not have been able to make out, but everybody would have known like that's not a beer can. So yeah, I thought that was interesting as well.
I really enjoyed the featuring of Stalag 17. First of all, I liked it as just letting us sit with it for a while. It reminded me a little bit of the beat. Remember in Logan when they take just a little bit too long to let us sit and watch Shane in universe.
Yeah.
They took a little bit too long to sit and let us watch Stalag 17, which I had only seen one time before. So I enjoyed it mainly because he talked about buying the tape, and I thought to myself, man, that would have been $83 back in the day to buy a tape just to, and I was like, I think that's what they were saying is that he spent $100 to own this movie. I love seeing the
he really wanted
VHS
to have
artifacts and all that stuff, but I loved it just for being an oddity. And I wondered the same thing you wondered, where it's like, are they just excited that they got the rights, or they just wanted us to sit with the movie? I would have been fine with it either way. The payoff in the back half that they had us sitting with it, and they go to that moment where, you know, because we get Magnum watching it, we get Mac watching it, and then we get the callback of, yeah, they sneak in a crowd or whatever it was they were saying. That was a good payoff, I thought. I suspect that part of the reason is, I love our psychoanalyzing of why something got the ultimate rating. I think this is just being given a bit of a boost for its boldness of where it went in primetime television.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I think a lot of the stuff that's more subtle that we're talking about is a big part of it. I think probably some of it is that it's just a poignant story, right? Like it's a story of friends and betrayal and all of that. And that always is a strong move. But yeah, I think I understand why it is the highest rated of the episodes out there. If we were to pick at it though, because we always do just a little bit, I would say that's an awful long con to program TC in the early 70s.
Also,
so they can use him sometime to kill somebody. And in this case, it's the Japanese. I thought it would be a Vietnamese person that was visiting. And then they're like, no, it's Japanese prince. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a little convenient, but whatever. But still, a very long con, don't you think?
Well, yes. And I can buy tactically that the Soviets would, have several pre-programmed wind-up toys ready to be unlocked.
Sure.
What struck me was the casual belief that this was a thing, because it was not a thing. The whole psychic sleeper cells and all that stuff. This say a code word and activate an agent.
They sort of hand wave that part of it too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder if that was just the time, or if
it's a little bit of that Project Blue Book era thinking, right? Of
or
like,
MK
well,
Ultra.
the government has all kinds of secret stuff that, yeah.
I guess also Project Blue Book.
I just remember Project Blue Book was a TV show around the same time. That's why I pulled that one out of my butt. But yeah, that was also like, we're not going to go into how they do it. You all know they can. And I'm like, can they though? But okay, fine. It works for the fiction, I suppose. Also, they apparently could get the license to show Stalag 17, but that left them no room to pay for the license for an actual Rolling Stones song.
I did notice. I was like, I don't think that's the Rolling Stones.
That is definitely not Mick Jagger singing that song.
Well, and I actually wondered if that was a syndication fix. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they played it in the original. In fact, I should have done research
maybe.
on that.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. That stuff happens a lot.
I also really love the very spotty amount of Greeking that they do on things. In fact, there's one moment that the Marine helicopter, like, I wonder if that's the same helicopter as TC's regular copter. Just they gave it a paint
they
job.
Just dress it up. Yeah.
But there's definitely a time that one of the Marines, if he's got duct tape all over his helmet, and I was like, oh, that's a very storied helmet, and I was like, those are very conveniently placed duct tapes. And then sure enough, like later we see a helmet without it with very particular markings. I was like, oh, they definitely used the same helmet, and they just covered up the distinctive markings.
And it played as storied for an instant till you thought about it. So maybe that's not so bad.
And also there was pieces of equipment, like when they were looking at mugshots and they were going through the Magnum Sweet Talks, the whoever, by showing empathy, they're going through mugshots, and the exact teletype machine, like Model 40 or whatever, I instantly Googled it and found a whole website about it. It was fascinating. I love it.
There was a lot of computers in the first part of this until Mac is gone. There's a lot of stuff about computers, which I found fascinating. I have two things I wonder if you can clear up for me, perhaps. One is, why does Nuzo speak Vietnamese at the end when he surrenders? Like, he's not Vietnamese. He's programmed by the Russians, and he speaks perfect English, so I'm not sure what the advantage of him speaking Vietnamese is.
Well,
That read as the audience needs to make sure they know he was on the other side, so we'll have him speak Vietnamese.
Well, they also, I think what that did is that revealed that the same implied hallucination that we saw from TC, where he was confusing modern day with stuff. What that did is that revealed that he too was an infected, confused person. Or
yeah. Okay, maybe that's all it needs to be.
Yeah.
It was a nice dated Pete Rose reference.
Oh my God!
said-
Would Pete Rose quit baseball? Yeah, about that.
I mean, he won't quit voluntarily.
Not
No.
voluntarily, no. But I also. Go ahead.
The other one that I wanted you to clear up for me was the joke about pork. They're at the touristy place, and I get that the joke is Mac wanted to go to this horribly touristy place, and Magnum and his girl are like, "This is a nightmare for us locals. Why would we go to this cheesy place?" But he says something about the great food, and they're like, "Oh, what do they have?" And they're like, "They have pork," and they all look like, "What?" It's not fit, because he names 3 Hawaiian fish. He's like mahi mahi and 2 others, and he's like, "No, it's the great pork," and I'm like, which is a perfectly traditional Hawaiian thing that you get at like Hawaiian plate lunch places. So is it supposed to just sound pedestrian to the audience? I didn't quite catch that.
Well, judging from the comedy routine beforehand, I think that the writer's room made a list of like, okay, what are the most cliched things we all know about Hawaii? Because we want to convey that Mac, for some reason, is not taking him to a good place, but the most cliched place in the world.
And he does say poi, pork and poi. So yeah, okay.
And even though none of those particular artifacts landed on my brain, none of them, I didn't get any of them. But meanwhile, like nowadays, by the time I had gone to Hawaii, there was a lot of cultural sensitivity, and you cannot do a flyby of Hawaii without picking up some of the authentic stuff. But that was not the case in 1980s. You only had
1982,
a bog standard, 7 or 8 facts that you knew about Hawaii.
So I'm an audience who largely has not been to Hawaii, but maybe I know a friend who has, and I hear Magnum say words that sound like Hawaiian things, mahi mahi, etc. And then the guy goes, "No, it's pork." And that fits the narrative that you're talking about, but also plays with somebody who doesn't know anything about Hawaii. Like, "Oh, pork, we have that here in Illinois." Like, that's ha ha ha. That's funny. Okay.
Yeah, it's like oatmeal being the third beat.
Yeah. Okay, good. I also wondered why Ivan had his sunglasses on when he was in the car at the end, but then took them off when he got out. That seemed odd. I don't know why.
I loved the dude who got shot up on the tower, who just was dead, and then Magnum's like, "You got shot?
Just fall down."
He's like, "Yeah, it's a living." And it was like, "Well, let me let you say, whoa, don't move. You got to be a dead body." "Oh, right, okay. Now fall down and break your body." "Okay, why not?"
Okay. Yeah, that was a little weird.
Also, my only other note was I understand that you're playing for standard definition, traditional primetime television. You probably don't want the blood to look too real, because keep in mind, every other time someone's got shot, we've barely seen a spot of blood. But I guess if you're going to go full on gusher of blood, you got to make real clear that it's not real blood, which is why it was crayon pink that came out of the which by the way, not for nothing, there's a very serious watershed in Indonesian television because of standards and practices. When I did psychic surgery, to the workaround on primetime TV, and keep in mind 70 million people watching live use bright green blood, just so it's like it's. And Tom, I kid you not, there was a moment backstage that nobody was supervising me, and I thought to myself, Brian, you know this is real live TV. You have the option right now of making a scandal. You could create an international incident simply by not going with the green. You can be confused and have the wrong blood packet and have it be real. That was
and just be like, we weren't killing a Vulcan. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That is our thoughts on Did You See the Sunrise, September 30th, 1982, ultimate episode of Magnum PI, season 3, episode 1. We will all go watch The Ugliest Dog in Hawaii, season 1. We're jumping back to season 1, episode 8, for the lowest rated episode of Magnum PI, and then reconvene here next time to discuss what we think of that. What's your prediction for The Ugliest Dog in Hawaii and why it is the lowest rated?
Too early to be a clip episode. I'm imagining maybe an annoying guest star, or they're setting up something that was so hated by the audience that it's a character that to our eyes, it's like, well, that's just another character, but maybe they tested poorly and they wrote him off immediately.
Okay. And you think the guest star is a dog?
Oh, ugliest dog. Okay, so they said don't eat the snow in Hawaii, which made sense afterwards. So Magnum PI titles are too clever by half, because don't eat the snow was a cocaine thing because he ate literal snow. Did you see the sunrise? Didn't seem to mean anything until it was the most pivotal line at the end. I guarantee you it's not a dog, but maybe there's an allusion to a dog or something. I don't know.
Or it's referring to somebody's looks. It's 1981 after all. So, yeah. All right.
Yeah, it could be.
We will find out next time. You get these episodes early. You get to weigh in more directly and listen to our conversations about which of these series we pick for the full experience if you are a patron at patreon.com/Cordkillers. Thanks to all our patrons for supporting us. If you are not a patron yet, you can fix that right now. Go become one. It's super easy. Doesn't even cost a whole lot of money. Patreon.com/Cordkillers. We'll see you next time.
So long, live people. Bye-bye. We'll be back with Great Night.